Of all the movies this month, Redline is undoubtedly the most stylish. Animated by Madhouse, the same studio that did The Girl Who Left Through Time and Summer Wars, the movie is more heavily influenced in line work and the distortion of spaces, as the flick is more about the fun and action rather than the story. Does this save the film, or is the plot too bogged down in this over-the-top sakuga for it to matter? In the worlds of Redline, there's a big race called REDLINE, where drivers of all backgrounds and persons from around the galaxy participate, including JP, the pompadour sporting racer set on winning for the big fame and money the race will give him. But the planet Redline is occurring on is currently under a huge government conspiracy of developing their own weapons of mass destruction, so they want to prevent the race from broadcasting across the universe through any means necessary. How will this militaristic regime plan shift gears for JP and the rest of the equally as crazy competition? This feels like the kind of film that made a sacrifice in one part of its composition in order to highlight another one. You know, a movie that lacks one thing only to excel in a different component, and it's in that gamble that makes it memorable. Well, if you're looking at your screen, you can preview a guess as to what deserves to take the checkered flag. Redline is, unfortunately, not a compelling story, nor is it truly focused. The big race itself is the second half of the movie, and 45 minutes of straight high-speed racing can get stale, and the rest of the story, like the beginning and the build-up to the race, are very par for the course for a sci-fi racer. Imagine the Phantom Menace to get a good idea of it. The build-up to the pod racing is fine and serviceable, and the race itself isn't bad, but it's just long. The rest of the story is okay, but not the most riveting storytelling in the world. Like, they do the bare minimum in exposition and atmospheric draw, and set up what they could with plot points done before, like the romance that had no organic chemistry or the big government conspiracy. I'm sure that's enough for some people, but it really dragged on for me. The characters aren't too interesting either, with the exception of maybe JP and his sleazy manager friend, who have this fascinating backstory involving the mafia. Other than that, the other races are forgettable aside from their designs, and even the love interest isn't too well developed other than this note of feeling sorry for her. But I do want to shout out Patrick Seitz, JP's English voice actor, who's always a delight to listen to. And here, he's just as suave and awesome as he always is, but he's not enough to save the film. But I do mean what I say about the animation. It is so bright and enunciated. Every frame of this movie is stunning, as you do feel this world is alive and moving while also being stylized in this hotshot racing universe only the cool can rule. I mean, just look at this. For as long as the story feels, it's still a gorgeous action-packed clusterfuck that has its hidden moments, like the absolute end of the race, where it comes down to JP and his rivals. It's a satisfactory image just for the amount of color and line work in the sakuga style. Really, if this film was just the last 40 minutes or so, I'd be fine with it. So, is it good? I honestly don't think so, for those big reasons. The story's a lot to be desired. It drags in places it shouldn't and speeds up in places it needs to slow down. And the characters are designed wonderfully with very little personality. This is a film I've always wanted to really like, but every time I see it, those hindrances only reaffirm a normal like for me. But for the only reason I do like it is that animation. It is just too damn good. It's insane. So look into it if not just for that beautiful motion and shading. It may not take first, but it's still the kind of art that will make your eyes race and your heart race faster.